is it not?
I don't know, because I picked up the ball. That's short anyways. All right, I'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Finance Committee, October 5th, 2017, 9 a.m. Amanda, call the roll, please.
McTaggart?
Yes.
Alt?
Here.
Bills?
Present.
Curtis?
Here.
Johnson? Yes. Anderson?
Present. Okay, all here. Public comments. Larry?
I'd like to remind you that we're going to have the recycling event October 21st from 8:30 in the morning to 3:30 in the afternoon. The FFA has volunteered to help again. You might want to keep in mind and give them another donation like we did last year. Also, the city of Waseca got a hold of me, and they would like to pay half of the upfront cost. The upfront cost was $2,500, so they'll pay half of that. I suppose they'll reimburse us after we pay it. And also, there's a list of 25 items that we won't accept in this recycling event. And we did do it last year, but this year, if we could put it on the county website and list those items, it might prevent a lot of confusion of people coming with the wrong things. That's about it, I guess.
Okay, makes sense. Are there any other public comments? All right, we're going to do the Randy, Susie, and we're going to talk about insurance all kind of at the same time, so everybody's present. Go ahead, Randy.
I don't have any, so it was a slow month insurance-wise other than working on our bid and answering questions on that.
Okay. Susie?
We have the benefits fair date set on November 16th and November 17th here for the employees to come through for open enrollment on the medical, dental, and vision plan. And then we also received the renewal for the Medicare Advantage plan that the retirees are on over age 65. Anita, did you want a copy of the one?
Is this...
It's the same exact thing.
Okay, fine.
All right. So what we have here is there are 3 options that are offered to the retirees. Each year they've stayed with Health Alliance, and we have these options here. I've highlighted them, and then I also put a label to show, because the print is so small, to show what the current plan premium was and what the renewal plan premium is. So it's just going up slightly, just a bit. Plan option 1 is going from $236 to $249. Plan option 2 is going from $302 to $319, and plan option 3 is going to $356 to $376. And that's the normal increase that you'll see across the board with these types of plans.
And these retirees pay 100% of the cost. And because this is the Medicare Advantage plan, it doesn't impact our rates for our regular plan, which our regular plan is current employees plus retirees under 65.
And I also included the benefit summaries just so you guys have that as well. Just full details on the plan.
And obviously this one renews not 12/1 like the rest of our plans, but January 1st.
Other than that,
Looks like a good deal.
yeah, good. They've been happy. We have not had any complaints or concerns whatsoever from the retirees. And then once we get through the benefits fair, I'll schedule a date with Anita in December where I will sit out here and be available for any of the retirees to come and ask any questions on the plans.
And can we get a motion to approve this, because I have to sign the plan? I always use that, the renewal docs, so then I use the motion and the minutes for my support.
So moved. I'll give it a second.
Okay.
Thank you.
Wonderful.
Motion on the floor and a second. Reading the motion, or do you have...
Is the motion just to approve the rate renewal
Renewal with Medicare Advantage.
with Medicare Advantage?
Questions on that one?
For the retirees.
Okay.
All right. Go ahead. Call the roll, please.
McTaggart?
Yes.
Alt?
Yes.
Bills?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes. Okay, while we're on, it's right before the budget, it's all kind of needs to be addressed. Go ahead and pull out your insurance. Little spreadsheet that Anita emailed you.
Oh, jeez. I gave you a big one.
I can read
Russell.
it now. I'm used to reading it.
Okay.
And you guys are with Corkle?
Yes.
last month, we gave the other two an opportunity to give us a couple-minute rundown on anything you want to tell us?
Sure.
Go ahead.
My name is Carrie McLean, and my counterpart here is David, and we're from the Local Insurance Agency. You want to know about our agency and what we can do? So we're located in Elko Village. We have 3 offices in the Chicagoland area. We have about 100 employees. We offer safety services, human resource consulting, and claims consulting. We have all of those folks on our staff. So we can help with, knock on wood, you don't have claims, but when you do, we have claims folks that help you every step of the way. We also have a safety services team and can prepare any type of safety manual that you might need. Speaking with Anita, that sounded like that was a need for the county here. And we had some claims in the past with regards to workers' comp and other types of claims. Sounds like that's some services we need to conduct with risk management to help with mitigating risks and help train employees in safer activities and safe workplaces. We insure a number of public entities around the state. We went out and did an insurance program with a number of carriers, and we brought back the best quotes that we found in terms of coverages and pricing. We also had a number of recommendations in our proposal. So if you have questions, we kind of went through and did a lot of work in trying to compare apples to apples with your current coverage versus what we brought to the table. So there's a lot of information there. Insurance is everybody's favorite subject, I'm sure. So we're happy to answer any questions that you have in terms of what we bring to the table in our quotes.
Okay. Yeah.
Why don't I kind of tell everybody what I did? So, Carrie's right. What I did is actually took the 3 proposals last month that we got, and I went through them as best I could. I actually started with Corkles here, and I just started typing in from their proposal everything where I saw a coverage, what the limits were, and what the deductible was for everything I could identify. Then I went through Richard Swing's proposal, and I laid in as much as I could where I could compare apples to apples. Actually, those 2 were more similar in terms of the coverages. Typically like $1 million per occurrence, a lot of it for liability, property, and like varying aggregates, but $1 million or $2 million or $4 million aggregate. Then I took the Schultz, because that was our current coverage, and I went through our policies and kind of filled in everything I could see. So you see that on the far right-hand side where that laid in as much as I could get. And if you follow it all the way down, I just took all the liability, auto, crime, and property as a lump sum, put that in, that's at the bottom of the 2nd page, and where those quotes fell. Then the workers' comp just as a lump sum item for a total for the premium. Then I started making phone calls to the bidders to ask questions for things I couldn't understand. After I thought I had everything I could, I called an agent in Shabance that I know who did not bid on this and has no interest in bidding on this and no affiliation to Randy, but he does do commercial liability, so he had some knowledge. And I went and brought all this and all the policies, and we sat down for a good couple hours and went through, and he kind of explained to me what I was seeing in terms of differences, and then gave me a couple more questions really for Randy. And so I came back, I did that last Friday, and then this week early talked to Randy about those follow-up questions, and then laid in the answers to that, and then felt like I had it all covered, and then I emailed it to you guys to at least be able to digest it a little bit. it seems like the biggest difference to me, if you look at these first two columns, it's $1 million per occurrence, and then the aggregate amount is somewhere, depending, and you can see different places, 2 million, 4 million, whatever. The difference with Bliss McKnight is that it was 5 million per occurrence, so it's a higher per occurrence, and then the aggregate says 5 million. But this was one of the questions for Randy. What Bliss explained that the aggregate of 5 million is in each of the 4 liability lines: auto, employee benefits, multi-class, and I can't remember the fourth. I don't have it in front of me.
Employment practice.
Huh?
Employment practice.
Yes, employment practice. So you can hit your aggregate in one line and have a claim in another line and then accumulate 5 million there as well. So worst case scenario across the 4 lines, we could have 4 or 5 million claims in a year, 20 million in coverage in total. Would we ever need that? I would certainly hope not. Different than the umbrella, where the umbrella is per occurrence, and they, from what Carrie's told me, that's pretty common, the way it's done in the industry, where you have $1 million per occurrence and maybe $1 million aggregate, but then you have an umbrella policy over the top, and that is 4 million is the umbrella that was quoted. That gets you to 5 million. That 4 million is across all 4 lines. So there's a difference, I believe, and you can speak to this if I'm wrong, that if we had like I don't know how it would happen, but a $5 million auto claim in a year. So we'd use up the $1 million plus our 4 million umbrella would get us to 5. And then if we had an employment practices claim in the same year for 3 million, we've already reached our limit. Is that right?
Actually, with the Allied, the carrier that we're proposing, they actually do it the same way you explained it with Bliss McKnight is the same way the Allied will handle it. So you actually do it. They're all separate silos.
4
Yeah. So
on each.
Exactly. So
Okay.
It is an apples to apples with
Good.
how you have it with your current.
Okay. Now the only other difference really between the quotes, and you can see, is that Corkle did not quote the workers' comp.
Yeah.
So that would mean splitting the coverage.
If I could interject on that, in our proposal while we didn't quote the workers' comp, we did go out to a couple of carriers and they all did fine based on the work comp losses. Our safety services team, in addition to Dave and I, would help you with that, provide safety manuals, have employee training, online classes, you name it, we would provide that to help you get your exposures down, manage your risk, get that mod down so that in the future you have a better chance of going out to the market and getting more competitive quotes. So we would offer that service to you. Kind of nice.
There's none of that in place right now.
Not that I'm aware of. There might be.
Let's have some services for that, but they've never been utilized here.
That was the question. Not actively participating in. Okay.
Most companies do have those type of programs for the employer where,
They would like you to get your mod down too.
basically, go to forklift school online through them and blah, 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 and,
We'd be a little more proactive in the sense that we actually do have a safety coordinator that's actually employed by us that we probably would send out ahead of time and more or less work with you and probably come up with a plan and then work forward. So again, a little more proactive approach.
a lot of times they'll have an employee on staff that they visit the client and they go through all the client stuff and they make recommendations, that risk management guy, you guys really need to do this, you need to do this, and that all gets put down black and white, somebody signs off on it, and it should be followed up on by the employer.
Yeah, Yeah, but as David said, we would be more proactive. We'd come down on site and do the training for you. So it takes the burden off the supervisors. You know, your supervisors have a lot on their plate. You know, you have a county to run. So we've got two safety services folks that would come down and provide that training directly. You know, time and as needed, as much as needed to kind of push it instead of pull.
Yeah, that's all right, that's included in our cost, that would not be any additional training or any additional cost to the county.
Yeah, I remember years ago, that's one company I dealt with, they actually had a great presentation on making sure there was no sexual harassment in the workplace. And by the time that come out, 6 months later, the company took it off the market because what they discovered when they laid that information out there, when employees looked at it, they knew what buttons to push to make it work in the court system. And so they went and hit it. So, yeah, there's always issues going down.
Sure.
I'd like to add my personal experience too. I had worked with the county of Peoria for 12 years, and within 10 years we had our claims down from, you know, we had claims meetings, and we would start at about a 3-hour meeting. We got the thing down to less than an hour meeting. We got the number of claims, and their experience went down significantly. Their premiums dropped, I think, at least 25% over the time. So that's with the cooperation, how we being proactive.
Any of the committee members have any more questions for these people or Randy?
Either Randy
at
or-
this time, and then we'll discuss it amongst ourselves here. All right, thank you very much.
Thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
All right. Now, like professional insurance board members, we got it.
Do we
It'll
move on?
basically be a recommendation. Just, I mean, it's not on there as a motion, so we're just going to recommend to the full board. It's a big ticket item. It needs to probably be separate on the full board agenda as well as the budget. A separate motion, get it out of the.
With looking at these numbers, looking at the coverage, I would recommend that the board stay with the same provider because the dollar amount is so insignificant, and we know what we're getting now versus what we might be overlooking on some of the other stuff that's offered. So I would
That's kind of where.
recommend to the board that
And that's which one, the one on the right?
stay with the Schultz agency at this point.
So they're quite close, though.
Yeah, you're talking less than, 1.1% or something when you start looking at dollar amounts, but at the same time,
And the only thing I see different is the limit per accident,
yeah.
and one's $1,500
Yeah.
above the other.
And with companies, they're always throwing different
$1
numbers
million
around for
bucks.
marketing reasons that, really doesn't play into it. I would make the motion and recommend that we stay with the
Again,
Schultz.
we're just going to send it as a recommendation. The board will get a motion and a second at the full board meeting. Again, it's a big ticket item. Needs to be addressed by the full board. We'll have all these copies for them. What are we thinking, Jerry? You ready?
I'm just wondering, so if we did split it up, can we just do work comp from one company and?
You could do that.
Yeah.
So we could do that?
Could we be looking at a potential rate increase down the line for if we split things? Is it an advantage?
That's a huge savings.
I think they do take into consideration the fact that it's, more of a holistic thing. I wouldn't be surprised if there's an increase if you didn't do everything, but I don't know that.
I don't want you to say yes or no, but that would be in my head. That's the way things are generally going to work out. They're going to make sure they get theirs in one way, shape, or form. So that big number could still be a savings, but it could be significantly smaller.
Did I get that motion on the floor to make the recommendation?
To make a recommendation to the full board, I think you got
I
it.
would move to do that.
So Russell would like to recommend to the full board Schultz Insurance's bid. Have a second, or you just got
I'll
Ernie?
second it.
Any other discussion? Well, then, the next couple days, we maybe try to put a number on, what the savings would be, or if we split it.
Yeah. But my experience with insurance, something else, is that the more vendors you have, the lot more cost you have in-house. So if you do split it out, you're dealing with some other vendors, and on workman's comp, it's pretty much controlled by the state. There's a basic line that's going to be there for a classification, and then you got your loss ratio, you throw that in there, and that's going to be your premium. And there's not a lot of jockeying around on it, because basically the state controls what it's going to be.
Yeah, I talked to 3 companies too, so I would guess between the 3 bidders, I wouldn't have been surprised if, as a group, we talked to 10 different companies, and I got 1 bid.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, and we had another bidder who just walked away right away and said, I can't bid your workers' comp, so I'm not submitting anything.
Yeah.
The workers' comp is our issue.
Yeah.
And it's a problem that we have to address.
Bliss is willing to help with that, just like Corporal said. They have some programs. At this point, I think it's getting serious enough. We definitely need to do something.
Yeah, our experience rating's gone bad, but you can be perfect for a lot of years, and all of a sudden you'll hit a bad spot. It's just like, it's gaming. That's why the insurance company's into it. And you get unlucky now and then, and everything hits at the same time, and then your experience rating goes, yeah.
Okay, any other discussion? If not, go ahead.
McTaggart?
Oh, wait, no, Sherry.
What
Go ahead,
exactly is your
Sherry.
motion?
Motion
You're
is
just recommending
to the
flat
full
out.
board. They're going to have to take it,
No.
they're going to look at it as a whole at the board meeting.
Yeah, I'm recommending that we send this to the board.
Just like everything else, the full board, they could say, to hell with your idea, this is what we're going to do. So,
So you're not going to recommend one company, you're going to let the full
yeah,
board?
Russell's recommendation was
Yeah,
to
I'm recommending
Okay.
stay
And
with
they're gonna-
the same agency.
they're going to do whatever we want, whatever that board wants on Tuesday.
Yeah. When you look at
Why
the dollar amount,
committees could cease to exist and we'd still be
and
able
looking
to
at
perform
basic
their duties.
coverages, there's no reason to change. It's a very competitive bid.
I said it'd been nice if Corporal would have put a work comp in there, and then we could have seen what it was, but they didn't do it for a reason.
Right, yeah, it would have been other
Should
than
have thrown
otherwise they
them
would have
out,
put it in
probably.
there.
If not, vote on the motion to send Schultz as a recommendation. Go ahead, Amanda.
McTaggart?
Yes.
Alt?
Yes.
Bills?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Johnson? No. Anderson?
Yes. Sure. It'll be on the meeting agenda. Thank you. Okay. Where's that? Budget. You have your budget in front of you, or you will be having your budget in front of you.
What new
The newest,
overview sheet?
greatest overview,
Most updated.
most updated. Eric would like to address the cuts that he received.
Two of them,
If somebody needs,
I passed them down, that was a mistake.
oh no, oh
Still
no.
hung on to it. Yeah, I know now.
You need one?
No, I've got one, I'll thank
We
you.
got 2 now.
Thank you for the time.
Yep, Eric has to address his deductions. Go ahead, Eric.
I'll be real brief. One, I appreciate the work the committee has done to keep the county in good financial straits. In addition to the $2,000 reduction after I received the EOC Tech grant, which I understood and agreed to when I proposed my budget, I received another $2,940 reduction in my budget, which at that time was only $24,294.33. That is $615 to office expense, $225 to education and dues, and then $2,100 to radio maintenance equipment line item. I'd like to address the radio maintenance equipment, the radio maintenance line item. The other stuff that I could probably try to live with. It will cause a reduction of what I'll be able to put out next year underneath the EMA department, but that's fine. The radio maintenance, $2,000 of that specifically was going to go to hopefully repairing the problems that we're having with the EMA repeater. I've been conducting a monthly drill with my volunteers for 3 or 4 months now, and not once has it worked perfectly the entire time. It is continually going in and out, and that is also the backup repeater for the sheriff, and I believe it's owned by the sheriff. EMA just utilizes it more, and I'd also like to remind you that that is part of my EMPG application, annual grant for emergency management that covers 50%. So actual costs would be 50% of whatever we spend. I don't know what the issues are. So the $2,000 that are requested specifically for that is an arbitrary number on my part. We've also noticed that there is some lines and possibly antennas missing that we thought were running to the EOC at one point in time before I was there. And I briefly mentioned this during my my initial proposal. So, if able, I'd appreciate it if you reconsidered that cut, and that's all I have to say.
So your biggest request is to put your radio equipment,
The radio maintenance line.
or radio maintenance, sorry.
How much have we already spent on that? I mean, what did you spend last year?
Last year I did not spend anything on radios. This current fiscal year I'm planning on spending $1,600, and that is specific to cable to get the radios physically in the EOC. Right now they're in a locked closet down in the jail, and that's for, not to get into too much detail, there was a previously existing system that was wireless. Before I took my position, it has since gone out of date and proved to be unreliable, so I'm going to use that $1,600 as initial cost for hopefully lower maintenance on never having to upkeep that wireless radio equipment called Telex.
So if you put $2,100 more towards that, are you guaranteed to keep that something then?
I don't have a guarantee. Like I said, I don't know what the problem is because I'm not a radio expert. Hopefully, the $21 or $2,000, the other $100 that line item was to a Starcom 21 radio subscription. And if you want to cut that, that's in the sheet that I initially provided to you. It's fine. It's the $2,000 that I'm discussing right now.
But you don't know that it's going to do anything, really?
I have no guarantee.
Okay.
It's an arbitrary number. I don't know what the issue is, so I cannot provide a accurate sum total of this money will fix the problem. And then after that, I cannot tell you for how long it will stay fixed.
I guess what would it take to get somebody in there that does know, or
Sure, I've
so
already
we know what, if this is necessary, I assume it is, then getting somebody that does know about what needs to be fixed to give us a real quote that says,
So
yeah,
you're not throwing money
for this amount of money, the darn thing will work, you know? That'll save you a headache and, I guess, us.
throwing good money?
I've been in contact with KC Communications to get that exact information, which I have not gotten yet. They have not had time. But
So the 1,600 you have in radios and auto equipment in this year's budget that you still haven't used, does that relate to these lines and antennas that are missing, you said? Is that right? That's part of the same issue?
no,
It's not. It's a separate thing.
it all relates, but the $1,600 was specifically, for the most part, to buy the expensive coax cable. Everything else is going to be volunteer labor, and to get the radios run to the EOC, because we need radio communication from an emergency operations center. When we tested that, to make sure that we tested this with some borrowed cable, to make sure that we were going to purchase the right kind of cable. We didn't want to throw money out there and have to return it or whatever. We found some more issues in that radio room in the basement of the jail, including a lack of connection to either UHF radio or Starcom 21. We don't know which one. There's a lot of sensitive equipment down there, and I can't just go start unplugging things and pushing buttons, because it's also a backup center from that one. So,
How can it be a backup center and not work? I don't understand.
my equipment, not specifically, doesn't work.
So,
I think 911 does, like the dispatch center here, when they go to sheriff's backup, if our man goes down,
when he does his tests with his people outside, is that right?
Actually, Sheriff, I do believe there's a problem with the repeater. It is going in and out. I'll go for times 10 minutes at a time where it does not work, and then 10 minutes when it does work during the middle of our monthly drill.
My first thought would be if, because we do use that, obviously, as our backup, that's what it's called, that it could be if it's a repeater issue that's in the basement, it could be a ETSB issue on getting looked at and getting repaired, because that's what the dispatch center uses if Sheriff's main goes down. So it could be looked at by ETSB.
Sounds like a good idea.
Who's working on them right now? Just you?
Who's working on them?
Yeah, like, I mean, all this that you're talking about, you keep saying we, who's we?
When I refer to we, I mean me and my EMA volunteers. We do the monthly tests of the EMA repeater, and then we ran the test of the cable to try to make sure that those radios over that length of coax cable would work in my EOC. So when I say we, I refer to me and my EMA volunteers.
Okay, and so no disrespect intended here at all, but...
No professionals.
Okay.
Which is why I've reached out to KC Communications and hopefully get that information.
I'm assuming that would be probably who the ETSB would be looking at to look at.
My suggestion would be maybe on the 17th at the next ETSB meeting that Mr. CC come, and because I can already, not being on the board currently, I could already see possible. ETSB has equipment down there, and if things are physically going to leave that room and go down into the EOC, I'm sure ETSB, first off, is going to want to be aware of it, and second, they may have some concerns of actually physically moving stuff down there. So, and if it's a repeater problem, like I said, there's nothing I can think of why ETSB wouldn't pay to fix that, because it's used by us and when main goes down.
Will you be able to go there? Will you be able to attend that meeting?
I'll check my calendar, but
Or Charlie Series on the board? Sheriff will probably be there to address it.
Hope the sheriff's here.
thank you for the time.
Thanks, sir.
Seems like it would be a great way to keep communication together
Yeah.
inside our own staffing.
I agree. Moving on through the rest of your budget.
Yeah, if we go all the way down, and it's microscopic, so I'm gonna have a problem seeing it now. The things that changed, I put in, the biggest thing is the EAV. I changed the property tax line from $1,420,000 to $1,440,000. The most likely EAV at this time is saying $1,445,000. I wanted to hedge it back a little bit because it always makes me nervous, but I put in an extra 20 grand for that. I also had a notice from Mindy on replacement tax from the state of Illinois, and they're saying for the state's FY18, the replacement tax amount would be $211,000. We had $220,000, so I took 9 grand out. And then this all nets to zero. And then the other next two lines are $5,500 added expense for in the sheriff's department and in the management department for the increase in the snowplow cost. I didn't get a call back from you yet. Did you get my voicemail yesterday?
No, I was...
Whose voicemail did I leave it on?
Well, unfortunately, I was not. I was out on the road yesterday. I wasn't in
Okay,
my office.
so I wasn't sure if you had enough in there to cover it, because I can't tell from your budget. It's like a lump sum, but...
We did, and I apologize for not having a printout in front of me, but I think going for 18, on the service contracts, we asked for an increase to 20,000, did we get that?
Yes, yes.
So that's about a $6,000 increase over 17. And I think the question on that was, the admin center this year had 19,000 budgeted for service contracts, and the jail and courthouse had 14.
Right, that was a cut that was made last year's budget. But see, I don't look at your 14, I mean, your pace this year is 18.
Yes.
And so when I looked at your increase from 18, I looked to 20,000, I'm like, okay, you added 2,000. I don't think that's enough to cover this.
Probably not on that now. I guess praying and wishing. There's a possibility within the first, I'm going to say 6 months or less of next fiscal year budget, I'm going to have another retirement from the deputy side. The person that is possibly going to retire has already been budgeted for 18, and the replacement that would take that person's position would come in at a significant reduction, which, again, I don't want to say, you know, the bottom falls out somewhere and then all of a sudden, but I think there's a possibility, and there may be some wiggle room in my overall general budget if those things work out to cover your increase in snow removal is 6,000?
11
11?
overall. Splitting it half is 5,500 apiece.
That doesn't count salt That doesn't count salt though, right?
Yeah, that's my estimate for salt too. I took it from 11 to 22 because the bid was 15 and I figured another 7 on top for salt.
You know, and I'm not going to, I know we've kind of played this the last couple of years of helping out. The one truck, maintenance truck that we do have has a snowplow hitch on it. We do have a snowplow still. And we have a maintenance supervisor who plowed snow for the city of Watsika for several years. So, there is that possibility of those duties helping out, I guess I should say. I mean, we've got a salt spreader that we got from County Highway for one of the other, for the 2 maintenance trucks we have. One is rigged with the salt spreader on the back of it. The other has got the snowplow rig on it. And obviously it's only one person. I mean, in the past years I've helped out when I can, shoveling sidewalks and spreading salt, but
what was that? Were you at the management committee meeting?
I was not.
Sherry was there. Was that any of that discussed?
I
My
suggested,
understanding that those 2 trucks both had transmission problems. Couldn't really depend on them long term.
Yeah, I mean, for pushing lots, I mean, my guess is I wouldn't want to go out and plow 120 miles of road with it, but pushing it through lots, I would say.
Well, that could be next month's agenda when Joel needs help. We'll have to send him out there. Sherry, what did you come out of the management committee meeting with?
well, I had
Sure.
suggested that perhaps we get a snow blower or one of those little tractors, you know, that he could do the sidewalks and stuff like that, and that was like totally thrown out the door because he does not have time.
We do have a tractor too that's got a little John Deere. It's got a blade on the back of it, an attachment, and a little loader bucket, which we've used to clear the sidewalks in the past. And again, that's the thing, is you're talking one person. If we get a snow where it's constantly blowing, and you know, there may be some, if he were to do that to help out, there may be some building issues that get put off for a few days.
Yeah. And sometimes there's building issues when it's cold, and you may be more inclined to have issues. Or maybe not. I don't know. Not a maintenance guy, but
Yeah.
why who said he didn't have time? Chris or
No, Chris was pretty receptive to it. Lyle and pretty much the rest of the committee poo-pooed it, so.
Yeah, it was also discussed to talk to Joel and see if
He said no.
did he? Has he said no already?
I tried to
They
watch,
will not
The
have
problem
I
is,
tried to
that's
watch
when
the
they
management
go out with
committee.
their snow plows too, you know, so.
And the
Well,
snow business.
Joel said that he would be interested in doing it after all their stuff was done, but by
Well,
the
that's a
time
little-
that rolls around, you're,
Joel needs to be out there trying to
Right.
clear the roads for 29,500 people, not for the 300 that come here.
exactly.
So, I just
We
think
have to have
that's
it open around the clock.
really
because
opening a
of
can of
the
worms.
In snow business, everybody has that demand within a couple hours. It's got to be done. Well, there's not enough workforce around, not enough equipment to get it all done that timely. And so there's always going to be issues.
That's Larry?
I spoke with the mayor and asked him for the possibility of an intergovernmental contract for what they filed their own. And he said he would have to get back to me on that after he checked with the guy in charge of streets and alleys.
Yeah, I would say,
But I expect to be no.
I would expect to be, I would expect them to say, if they said yes, that they yes, and as soon as we're done with all of our stuff.
Right.
Twice. No,
Well-
again, this has got to get basically posted for review on Tuesday, so we got to start. We don't
Well-
we got to finish it.
When it comes to that snow removal, there's a lot of ways that things can be shared a little bit, because you know what, if the city snow plow's going down the street and the city police need to get over to the 911 center for communications, passing paperwork around, they can just take a drive through the parking lot with the blade down and spend less than probably 60 seconds, and they keep on going, and there's a path to get in and out. Where I remember a few years ago that did not happen, and yeah, I think Derek was walking through snow just to get to the 911 door.
We can look into those things for the next year or whatever, different opportunities, but considering our time crunch and
Yeah. Well, again, we knew we were going to have to bid this out.
accept the proposal here.
That's your motion?
That's my
And
motion.
leave
on
it,
that
you're just
aspect.
saying leave it
I'd leave it how it's presented here.
and that's still to the good 5432.
That sheriff may have some extra money, but for now, we just
Well,
leave it that way.
the contract's not accepted for plowing, so that could always change as well.
Again,
Go back to
yeah,
committee, so.
on Tuesday, when everything gets removed for separate consideration, we don't know how it'll end up.
I'll second that motion.
Okay. We're gonna send this as is,
Is this all you're going to discuss on the full budget?
but, well, we can keep discussing. They have a motion in a second. We can, anything else you wanna discuss about any of it?
I'd like to ask a question. I wasn't here at the last finance committee meeting. VA came in and they submitted, I understand, I got 2 phone calls, one last night, another this morning, about, did you accept the last offerings by
The last, what we went with was 40,
44, 40.
41,568.
It sounds like what I heard this morning on the phone.
what
For
was
a year or so that way, that they may need some increases in the,
Yeah, it was a sizable increase over previous, but at the same time, we do know that the federal government's kind of putting more pressure on to do more things, so.
well, it's money coming in that we're distributing
Right.
in the county, out of county money coming, so we ought to make way for it and encourage it all to come. Second question was whether the facility here is sufficient or not. And got 2 views on that. One party says it's not, another says it's just fine for the present. And I think it's still just fine for the present, but if things keep growing like they are, I can see where they might even need more desk space down the road. So 2 or 3 years down the road, we may be seeing a reason to play musical chairs with our offices a little bit.
fall back under a management.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, we did not.
No, I know, yeah, but they brought it here the other day, but.
Yeah,
if
we
they want
looked
to
at the
readdress it.
current budget issues. We do realize there's that potential where we're supplying a room right now. We may have to make changes, and again, we're just going to throw that at management.
I suggested maybe just a bead blind down the door, if that would help. If some people wanted that privacy in there, but I don't know.
I thought was it more the sitting outside was his issue?
Yeah.
I also suggest why not turn around some of the chairs that are sitting further to the west there on the south side. They could sit there as well as where they are. All they need to do is signal out, you're ready for you. You could come in from there is to sit right in the hallway.
And you know, with how we usually have this meeting
I
marked
don't
for
think that's
usage,
really
there's
a
always
big problem.
No.
I don't think there's privacy is really a big issue. It made the way, I think it's outblowing a little bit, really, right now, but that's my feeling.
And I did ask Anita yesterday to put an increase in for herself, more than 2%. We continue to give her more and more things, like the levy is basically hers now.
Yeah, she mentioned the levy too, that they power the levy.
And some other issues, but, and the keying air and the soil water was
How much
$320.
how much was hers up from 4% then?
2.
6 then?
Oh, you're talking about Jen's?
Yeah, Jen, yeah.
Jen is up 22%,
Okay,
her increase.
that's not as bad as I thought it was.
She went from 21.9 to 25.5 is what I got yesterday. She sent a revised budget. And then the only other change was the veterans assistance went from 63.25 to 73.93.
Which one is that?
That's the last line.
Yeah, that's the one we
veteran-
talked about before, and I wasn't sure, but I found out I was sure on, that's what she used it for. And it's an important line, really. It's a very beneficial line too, I believe. I'm done. You heard enough.
So we have some retirement going on, and talking moving the animal control over to the finance part of it. There's still some issues that need to be 100% ironed out, but we got a part-time person, we got somebody that with change of scenery, change of personnel, may have able to streamline some things and get another part-time job, turn it into one, because we have somehow had to offset the increase that's going to happen for AFSCME. It's all laid out here. The one outlier is still that arbitration that is seemingly the longest arbitration ruling ever, waiting for one for the telecommunicators, so that's separate from the budget, but it directly affects it. Any other discussions on the budget? I'm quite sure there'll be plenty on Tuesday, but it needs to get posted
on file.
For their public's
Do we need a motion to file it?
Yeah, we got it
We got a
on
motion,
board.
second to send it as it is to the board, and if it'll
Okay.
change, there'll be a whole nother motion at the board under the finance committee, so that everybody's voting, everybody gets their say. I guess call the roll, it doesn't really,
I must have missed the motion.
Oh,
Okay.
yes,
send it as it is right now.
budget, put that whole 18 budget on file, I think it was.
And is that just to post? Yes, to post.
Posted pending the county board's blessing, the full board's blessing.
For public review.
Who was the second on that?
Oh, it was.
Okay. McTaggart?
Yes.
Alt?
Yes.
Bills?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes. And department head reports. Mindy. Lisa. Dee. Eric.
Was awarded the EOC Technology Grant, $70,950. That.
And I asked you if all that money has to be spent, not how you put it in.
Yes.
Yeah.
Specifically how I put it in.
How you put it in.
It'll go to exactly that.
Sheriff.
I talked last month about, I know there was some conversation about squad cars and when to replace them and what to do, and possibly using some of this year's monies that you have to get one. At that time, I made committee aware that I was having a retirement in November from the deputy side. And possibly if some of that money from contingent could be used if, I don't want to get in a situation where if I don't have someone ready to go when this person retires, I'm looking at probably a minimum 4 to 6 weeks of having one deputy on the road instead of only having one out there 6 hours a day. It would be 16 hours a day. So I have interviewed an officer who's currently full-time in good standings with the department. He's certified. So within a 4-week time frame, I believe I could get him ready to be out on the road by himself. Going through the geography and orientation is basically the biggest part of it. How we do things differently as well. But so I was looking at bringing a person on November 1st, and with this retirement happening November 30th, that would give me a 4-week time frame to have this person ready to go and fill in when the retirement happens. Looking at my budget, and where we're at, I'm running about 2% under where we're at 83% of the budget right now. I'm 81.1. So there may be some monies in there that would not have to shift around to cover a month's salary for this person. But I just wanted to make you aware that's my plan, is to bring someone in on the November 1st. And the nice thing is, with them already being certified, PTI, Police Training Institute, now has gone to 15 weeks. I think it's 540 hours. So anymore, when you hire someone and send them to the academy and then get them out through the field training, you're talking almost 6 months from the time you hire them until you get them out there doing something. This is going to streamline it to hopefully 4 weeks.
Leaving your car out? We're getting through with things right now. I mean, I'm not going to turn it down if I can get this done within my budget without you transferring any money, and next month you say, hey, we'd like to get the sheriff's office a new car, I would gladly accept that. I'm shocked. Yeah.
Because we cut his.
Yeah, I know. We need to take a look. Is that all, Sheriff?
Sheriff, if the committee approves that request at next month's meeting, does that give you enough time to get the car in? Because remember, it's got to be in and in service before November 30th in order to meet this year's budget.
Yeah, I can, after this meeting, I think it's, the state bid on the Chevys, I can give him a call right after this meeting, and he's usually got them in stock, so it would just be a matter, he would get it delivered here, and I could get a hold of our radio people to have them swap the equipment, which usually, if they have a full day to do it, they can tear it out of one car and put it in the new, so, and then get it marked. Within 7 days, I could probably have the car delivered and put together.
Okay, so if they approve the move from contingent funds to do it in November, the approval would occur November 14th. Even with the Thanksgiving holiday, you could get it into service before November 30th?
Yes.
Okay.
If I have to drive around in it with a portable, I'll have it served.
All right. Bob? You feel comfortable with the EAV?
What?
You feel comfortable with the EAV where we got it?
I'll be more comfortable with it at the end of next week.
Too late.
I told him either at the last meeting.
Yeah.
I'm comfortable with it right now.
Okay. Ken?
John mentioned maybe at the management meeting that I don't think everybody was in there. We did get a couple of people that are bankers, types that are interested in serving on the loan review committee for the revolving loan program. So kind of anxious to get those approvals through and get those names on the list. It's Lori Heath from Iroquois Federal and John Hutchinson from Iroquois Farmers State Bank. Actually, it's kind of interesting because the Iroquois Farmers State Bank is now the largest bank in Iroquois County based on locations because of a couple of takeovers they've had. So that's a good representative because they represent like 5 or 6 communities within the county. But we need to get those names approved and everything so we can get a meeting together. I've got old forms that we used from before, a couple new sets of financialized, maybe we can look at those, make sure we get our application forms and everything organized so that we get the information that we've all talked about that we need to get safe approvals and loans and that thing. So kind of anxious for that to get going and then we'll move forward with it.
How large of a committee is that going to be?
The committee, it's not limited in number by the document that sets it up. It's not the program strategy. It's not limited, but it is required to have the county board chairman or his appointee, the state's attorney, the director of IDA, and a minimum of 2 financial banking individuals from within the county. But it's not limited to that. It could be more. If we wanted a CPA or something that's, fully available in the wording, but it would again have to go back to the board to get it approved.
John, you got anything? Didn't miss anybody? This isn't the month for historic cash trends. Kind of at the end of November, we'll look at where we sit. Claims. Everybody should have a claims list in front of them. Looks like you got your IT ones. Is that the only other one we got given to us? Oh. Full now?
Yeah.
Okay, that was a question I had the other day and I would have forgot it. The 5100 is in there for the audio in here. This big unit over here. Is that fully functioning now, Eric?
It is awful.
It is, so it's not fully. The issue of the, I don't remember what meeting it was last time that they were talking about when you went into executive session, stopping and starting and having the recording go on.
That was of no fault of the equipment.
No, but
or its
that
design. It's just new and I didn't know how to handle it.
got her figured out, or
I believe, I mean, I uploaded it into some videos, so. Thank you.
the operation is running how it's supposed to for $5,100. That was the question. I needed to know. We got it all.
To pay these bills.
Pay the man.
And then the other one Larry, the $2,500 fee is in here for the recycling event. That's just the flat fee for the day.
And
And,
we present that during the day of the event.
well, he actually asked me in the email just to mail it to them ahead of time. So we'll just run it through the regular process, the check will
Notify
cut.
the city that we paid that,
Right, right,
and they can send us the half.
right.
Okay.
I move we approve them.
We have a motion on the floor of Mr. McTaggart to approve the claims. Is there a second?
I second.
Charlie Alt. Any questions on the claims as presented? Seeing none. Amanda, call the roll, please.
McTaggart?
Yes.
Alt?
Yes.
Bills?
Yes.
Curtis?
Yes.
Johnson?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes. Committee have any old business?
Might be old business. This sheet here looks kind of nice for a change.
The numbers?
Yeah. Nothing outstanding that's not yet been received for September, so that's pretty good. Can't believe it.
Don't get used to it. Any new business that's come before the Finance Committee? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so moved.
Charlie, is there a second? Ernie Curtis, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Meeting adjourned.